for 10th graders and 9th graders who didn't take it, but next year 10th grader, it is merely a preliminary test. It is not a qualifier for national merit. Only taken in the junior year is that a qualifier. So truthfully, it doesn't matter. Now the kids ask, are the colleges going to see this? Absolutely not. They don't care. It's just a tool. Anything that goes into Naviance is confidential between you, your son or daughter, and us. So even if I'm talking on the phone on behalf of one of the students to a college rep, we do not talk standardized testing. So we encourage them to send, always put HUN school code, just it helps us to know what we're working with, but I wouldn't be foolish enough to try and understand, okay, did he send his ACT or his SAT? So those PSAT scores are gonna be in there. Just try not, know that that is for purposes of planning only, okay? All right, Kat, you better keep me on track. All right, the redesigned SAT now has evidence-based reading and writing, as opposed to critical reading, math, and an essay. With the essay, the test is now a marathon. It is 3 hours and 50 minutes. That's a long time. Without the essay, it's 3 hours, but I want them to do it with the essay. So, I mean, it's a big time commitment for the kids, and for any of them that like practice, don't make them sit and take a whole practice. I tell them, do it by sections, okay? And that's another change with the new redesigned SAT, is that it doesn't jump around. You do the section, you have the time, you know, whatever the allotted time is, and then you go to the next one, okay? So I think that'll be easier for the kids, hopefully. Okay, the ACT, just because they wanted to keep us on our toes, also made a few changes. Theirs are kind of minor. So the ACT always advanced further in mathematics, okay? But now they've put on probability and statistics. They're looking for kids to be able to analyze problems and data. The reading now has paired passages, which it did not have before, and the essay is more rigorous. Now, it used to be scored 1 through 10, I think. Right, Kath? I don't know, they got a little number. But now they're scoring it 1 to 36, which is what that's the whole scale for the regular ACT as well. So that kind of makes a little more sense to the kids. All right, so the presentation we went to said the new test versus the ACT is kind of Coke versus Pepsi. I'm a Coke girl. I don't like Pepsi. So the kids should probably try and figure out what test is going to be better. The SAT still focuses a little more on the humanities, and but the passages are to be taken from things that kids learn in school. And the vocabulary is going to be a word that they've seen somewhere in their life, instead of those crazy flashcards of vocabulary. So more in context. And then there's a math, put the calculator away section on the SAT, okay? ACT still has a whole science section. That's a challenge for some kids. And so that's something to consider. Both of them focus on algebra, but it's more about kind of analyzing data as opposed to computation. And the SAT finally got rid of the geometry, which the kids haven't had since heaven knows when and will never use again. And they both go through Algebra 2 now, And apparently there's 3 to 4 questions of trig on the redesigned SAT. Okay, so it might even go a little further than ACT. No, never did. Never did. That SAT had geometry, and so our kids in the really high-level math would be like, okay, why didn't I do really well on the SAT, but they get an 800 on the subject test? It's just because they hadn't used it and didn't study it. So luckily, that's kind of gone. Okay, so subject tests. So this is based on what we know. I don't know how this is going to change for you guys. Okay? So as it is right now, most highly selective schools require subject tests. Princeton requires them. Columbia, if you're going to be a STEM person, you're going to have to take a math and a science. I think that's kind of true across the board of schools. Whereas at Columbia, if you're going to be go to the College of Arts and Sciences and you take an ACT with optional writing, you don't have to submit any subject tests. So here's what I tell them. Take them, put them in your back pocket. If they're not good, we're not sending them unless we have to. If they are good, it certainly can't hurt to support an application. Okay? So, just to relieve the pressure, score choice, which was intended for students to have a little more control of the testing they sent, is still in place across the board for subject tests. It's just that for the SAT and the ACT, some highly selective schools say, we want all your testing. And they tell us that they look at the best. I mean, there's no way for us to know that. If there's a huge discrepancy, College Board would be calling the kid and the family on it anyway. So, a student that takes an SAT in 8th grade, I mean, I think they figure out at the college level that, of course, there's going to be a pretty big change. Okay? So the subject tests are discipline specific. They're 1-hour tests, and they're given on the SAT dates, so the kids cannot take an SAT on the same date that they want to take subject tests. That's why planning is really important. The other tricky thing is, and I didn't really ever encounter this before, some of the language tests, so I think it's French with listening, was only given in October. So there are a few exceptions on the language tests. General rule of thumb, you take the subject test at the end of the year, preferably June, after the student has covered all that content, studied a little bit on their own as well, and is grade appropriate. And the reason I say grade appropriate is, I think some people feel, oh my gosh, they had biology freshman year, they should have taken the subject test. If they're not really kicking it in bio, and that's not really like what their strength and passion is, and they don't really have the maturity, I'm not sure it's the best idea to start setting them up for that. I mean, it's okay. They can retake it later and score choice it, but that's where you have to kind of decide where is your child at and what's in their best interest. Most kids take subject tests at the end of junior year, and some take it at the beginning of senior year.
Yeah. How many would you recommend that they take?
Again, it depends on, so if they express to us, and this is the hard thing, today I want to be an engineer, tomorrow I'm going to be a kindergarten teacher. And that's so typical with kids. So if they really are moving towards the STEM fields, have them take a math and a science. And so, and I'll show you how you decide when they take those in a minute. If they're dying to go to Georgetown, just know that they're going to have to take 3. And a lot of kids take U.S. history. They'll take that at the end of the U.S. history class. Many kids that are bilingual will take the language that they are native speakers. However, the colleges do kind of expect that the Chinese kids would get an 800 on it. You know, so I'm not saying they will take it, but boy, they'd love to see an 800 on literature then. So, you know, I think you gotta, you know, I'll sit and talk to the kids and tell them, so here's what I tell them. I tell them, go to Barnes & Noble, make like you're drinking coffee, take the book out, look and see what's on it, and if you're totally overwhelmed, probably not a good idea, okay? The course content never covers everything for the subject tests. It's a given that those kids are gonna have to do some outside studying. So if they're not willing to do that, then I'd say hold off a little bit till they mature and they start to get worried and thinking about college, because most 9th and 10th graders right now, and even 90% of my juniors, it just hasn't kicked in yet. And that's normal. And unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do to change it as parents. I mean, I have 3 children. I've tried the threatening, the you can't go out, acting like I don't care, you're going to get a job. None of it works, I'm telling you. So I think back to who I was as a person, and I think it helps because my husband reminds me. He goes, you're a little tainted since you went into this. My son was invited to the honors college, and I was like, oh, you've got to do that. It looks so good. And my husband looked at me and goes, really? Would you have gone to the honors college? I'm like, probably not. So, you know, and some kids are highly motivated, and they want to do that. You know what? They land somewhere where they're successful, and it's important that they're going to do well when they're there. And testing, even if it's test optional school, testing gives us a really pretty good feel of where they could land. So it'll help us, it'll help you without really saying, oh my gosh, you're not going anywhere. You know, and have them continue to work hard in school because they have control over those grades. And we make a really hard case for that. And I can honestly say, because I worked in 2 other public schools in a very competitive public school district. And when I came here, I was like, yikes, you know, because there was so much grade inflation where I was. And our kids, and Mr. Brown isn't paying me to say this, I can tell you, our kids do well, which means that there's respect for the demands in the curriculum here. So I think that's good for you to know as we go along. So, you want to know specifically, check the College Board website, but checking it sophomore year won't help because the colleges change what they require from year to year. And that's why, you know, sometimes planning is tough. That's why I say take them. We don't need them, 2 weeks in. Okay? Okay, so subject tests. There's mathematics, okay? There's level 1 and level 2. The kids say, which one should I take? I don't know. Yeah. Pretty much we're told that once they finish Algebra 2, they should be ready for Math Level 2. The biggest question I get is, can Level 1 and Level 2 count for 2 subject tests? No. It'll only count for 1. Okay? I suggest they wait on math because it's a subject that just keeps building. So why would you take it early on? It would make more sense to kind of wait on that one. I look more at the standalones, U.S. history or one of the sciences, because they may not take it again. And if they do, it's probably not going to be until senior year, and they're taking AP Bio, and how much more could they possibly learn in 1 month when they would have to take, the subject test anyway. So, kind of think about if they already are good with the foreign languages, that's something they could take. If they knock out Chem Honors, that might be a good thing to take. But B in regular Chem, and they should talk to their teacher. Their teachers are pretty good at being able to be honest with them about if they think they're ready for that. And they'll often say to them, look, you could do it. You need to do some outside studying. And so then there's how motivated are they. Okay? All right. Highlights of the redesign. Don't leave anything blank. So if you notice when you go through your child's PSAT, if they left any blank, they have a circle with a line through it or something, to remind them, go back and make diamonds if you have to, but don't leave any blank, okay? Fewer answer choices and an emphasis on analyzing data, reading graphs, using the information they learned and applying it, as opposed to regurgitating things that they've memorized. So again, hopefully, if they're a good student, they'll be able to perform well on this test. I was thinking about signing up for it, but I'm afraid somebody might get a hold of my scores. Okay, so the mathematics, there's 57 questions, 80 minutes total, and there's 2 sections, one with and one without the calculator. And as I said, it's advanced from the math on the old SAT. The evidence-based reading and writing, I was surprised. We looked at a couple of the passages. It's a lot more words. There was one that was like 750 words. So the kids really have to concentrate and not just underline and pick out what they think will fit the answer. Okay? There's grammar questions, and then a 50-minute essay. Now the essay, I think I have a slide, so hopefully I'll get to it. Subject tests, I said, by the completion of the standalone. And so 10th, 9th graders, unless they are blowing out bio, they know more bio than Mr. Buck, maybe they want to take the subject test. Otherwise, let the 9th graders be 9th graders and let them try and figure out what they like. I like science. I like working with people. Let them try and figure that out. With sophomores, if it's the end of a subject and they want to do it and they've done well, I would let them take it. I wouldn't force them if they're not ready, truthfully. And you have to think about timing because they have exams also at the end of the year. So all of the dates for this are online. Just go to the College Board, it has all the dates, but there's always a date in May and a date in June. And for sophomores, since they're not taking an SAT yet, please don't make them take an SAT yet. They're only sophomores. It wouldn't be a big deal if they took it. They can take up to 3 at any one sitting, okay? And then you do know the policy of the Hun school is a good one. If the students take the AP course, they're taking that test, okay? Students that are sophomores and juniors and take the AP course and don't report an AP score on their Common App, it's kind of a red flag. They have to study for that test. 3s are better. I tell them to report. 1s and 2s, I wonder what they were doing in that class. So, again, if they're going to take AP, it's rigorous. There's a lot expected. These kids do a bazillion things. I have kids who, they commute 45 minutes, they eat in the car, they try and study in the car. Just balance it. Because as counselors, we really work hard to get a good fit for them. I sat with a kid and she knows she's not going to be this stellar athlete, but she really wants to play in college. And so finding a place where she's going to be able to not end up in the mental health section of the, that would be appropriate for her. I think that's the key. Not every child is going to an Ivy League school, but every child at Hun is going to go to college, whether they like it or not, right, Kat? Or they're going to at least apply, and some defer and do a gap year, or perhaps they'll do a post-grad year. But we have them all go through the process. I think it's important to do that. All right. SAT with writing, ACT with writing. When do I take it? I'm going to advise that your sons and daughters take one of each in the winter of next year. Exception. Heavily recruited Division I athlete. Coaches are trying to get the verbal commitment early. They're pushing the kid, and you think they're academically ready. So if they're in Algebra 2, don't make them take it in the fall. They're not going to do well on the math section. And so you just hold the coach at bay. And we'll help them with that. But having them, the thought of having them take it early so they get test prep, and then test prep, and then test prep, you're going to burn them out. You can only test prep so much. So I kind of like when they take their PSAT, they do something with it. They used to not even pick up the booklet. So this year with the juniors, we're making them sit one-on-one. But then maybe you take, not cold, but you take that first SAT and that first ACT without the crazy test prep. And let's see how you do. Because you have to realize it can only go up so much. And so I think taking it and at least understanding the strategies, okay? Don't leave any blank. The fundamentals. And then getting a good look at the content so that then they can do concentrated studying on their areas that are their weaknesses. That's what makes sense to me.
They're not taking it in their spring.
So they take it, usually they don't want to take it in December because they're kind of burnt out. So there's always a January SAT date, which we didn't recommend our juniors take this year. Is the school falling down? Wow. Because this year, these poor juniors, the first time they can take the new one is March, and they're not going to get the results back until after May. So, because usually our philosophy is you take it in the winter, you get your results back, usually fairly quickly, and then you look at them, you do test prep on the areas that you need, and then you retake them before you leave for the summer of your junior year. It makes perfect sense. I just don't know how that's going to work with these juniors. So we've just been pushing the ACT.
What is the ACT?
So I believe every year, the dates are not posted, but I believe every year it's the SAT in January, ACT in February. Don't hold me to it. You'll get something from me that has all the test dates. And I encourage you to kind of plan them out because things happen. I had a girl who ended up getting a concussion. She couldn't take her SATs. College Board won't just let you take them at another time. There's those dates. And so planning's important. If they play sports, or you have a family wedding, or I think planning it out is, then there's a little room for error. And then many kids need to come back their senior year and take it one more time. But then there's just like the ACT used to do, still does, they also have breakout scores within.
Okay. I think that's it.
Just go back to, so I have a sophomore. So when you talk to parents, and it seems like your timeline is a little bit different. Some parents are advising, I had in my head that, he was going to do a reading course maybe in August, and then maybe take the winter exam, and then we take it in the spring, and that fall of senior year was like aghast, like not a good idea because we felt like it was too late. Are you basically, what I'm hearing from you is that you're saying, kind of maybe look things over and take it in the winter without so much prep and so much stress, figure out what you need to do, and then take it for real in the spring.
What I recommend.
And that fall of senior year is not too late, as long as you're really not interested.
Not too late, even if you want to do early decision.
When you say fall of fall of senior year, what month is it? Like you said, October.
So the ACT is at the beginning of September.
Okay.
It's always the same weekends, even though they haven't given us the
Right.
dates. And the SATs are always the beginning of October. So from past experience, if there's not a glitch like there was this year and College Board couldn't turn the scores around,
Because typically, what is a typical turnaround?
typical turnaround, you know, Cass, 4 weeks.
So if you took it in, so if you took what you said January, February, March, you have it, and then
So they have it early enough to then do the test prep.
then what would the spring tests? What are the spring
So
tests?
the spring tests are May and June.
May and June.
And here's what I usually recommend. If your child is in an AP class, AP exams are always the first 2 weeks in May. So if they're studying for an AP test anyway, have them take the subject test in May, have them take the SAT in June. So again, when we have those one-on-one meetings, that's when we kind of talk about that. So if you had a child that wasn't in advanced math, and you had him based on that parent advice, which might have been good advice for her child,
Right.
okay? What would be the purpose? If they haven't covered the material, they're not gonna do well.
Well,
Yeah. And you know what? There's so many practice tests out there. So even on Khan Academy's website, there's all these practice tests. Let them do the practice tests instead of jumping to, the actual test, because as you know, the more they, do the practice, the more relaxed they'll be about it. Amping up, so just remember that the companies that make money from test prep are the ones that are going to encourage you to start doing test prep in second grade. Because it's a business. And the amount of scores, how far they can go up, you only ever hear about the people that get 200 points. You don't hear about the ones that go down. I'm sure you can find it on the website. It used to be 40 points, but no one's going to talk about that. So, kind of keep it in perspective. It would make so much more sense. So a good example is my son was really good in math, I don't know where he came from, and horrible in critical reading. So in his case, I decided no course. I actually hired a tutor that just did critical reading. And we knew where he wanted to get, and that's what he worked on. So, it's going to depend. My daughter needed help with everything, so we put her in the class.
After you took the test, you just needed to.
Yeah, after he took the test.
Yeah.
And my oldest son didn't want to do any test prep. He made it very clear he would be wasting my money. So we didn't do it. If they don't do the homework that goes with it.
Was it a good test taker in general, or?
He was a pretty smart kid.
Yeah.
So test prep companies, service agencies, whatever, are proliferating all over the place, especially on the
Yes,
website.
they are. Big business.
Do you have a list of recommended local people, local companies, online companies that you would say are trusted and have produced good results?
I wish I could answer that, but we keep a list. We try not to recommend, okay? My biggest thing is please make sure they understand and have prepared for this new test though. Because, there's a lot of kids that are really smart. We have Princeton University kids they want to tutor. Just because you're smart doesn't make you a good teacher. So we do have some individual teachers. There's 2 people I always work with. I trust them. They were teachers with me in my previous job. So if a kid needs critical reading, the woman has a master's in English with a reading specialty. I listen to her teach the grammar. You're not being able to pick out the object of the, so that's kind of what I look for. But I'm sure some of these people that just do overall test prep, if the kid's pretty bright, I guess they can just bring them along. I think it really depends, but we do keep a list. And the list is based, everybody wants to get on the list, trust me. I get emails, and pretty much our list is internal from parents or kids that have had a good experience or people that we trust and kind of have tracked the progress of how their kids have done. Okay? Sorry?
Can we get the list on that?
Yeah, I think I put it up online, but we'll always give you the list. It's just try not to get too carried. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of dollars, and I'm hoping that this new test goes back to what the whole philosophy was. And that was, if you get a good education, you should be able to do well on the test. And we know you could teach to the old SAT. It's my hope that with it being realigned to curriculum, that not memorizing cards or memorizing vocabulary, and that it actually will be a reflection of the education that the kids are getting. I'm an optimist.
Yeah, you talk a lot about like the changes to SAT and the time you had, how many questions. Like in comparison to the ACT, does one have more questions per time period of complete? Like, do you think one is more difficult in?
So we don't know because of the new redesign.
So you haven't been able to release that?
No.
New ACT?
But you can see, like if you go online, they'll tell you how many questions in each section
The new ACT though?
for the new ACT and the redesigned ACT. However, having not taken it, I mean, it's just charts.
Right.
I can tell you the essay for the ACT is a short prompt they write. The essay for the new redesigned is like a 700-word response or something. I know I'm winging that, but so they're very different. I do know there's a whole section of science on the ACT, not on the SAT.
Because there was a big difference between the old ACT and the new SAT,
Mhm.
right? Like, because there was a lot more reading questions in a shorter amount of time than,
Mhm.
like, a lot less questions, a lot more time on the new SAT,
So what happened was the ACT finally surpassed the SAT takers in the United States 2 years ago. And so College Board said, oh my God, we better do something. So now it's more closely aligned to the ACT. So I don't know timing wise, so we used to tell the kids, the ACT, you gotta move quickly.
Yeah.
But part of that might be the built-in fact that you don't have to analyze, I'm going to lose a quarter of a point or a half a point.
Right.
I don't know what the formula is that they built in. We know nothing.
Yeah.
And the reason I want you to take the ACT, I'm scared. I go in Naviance and there's no data on what that score is as I try. And so Naviance is our college counseling tool where we keep historical data that you will get access to in junior year. Because I try and keep only 5 years of data, and even that, a kid that got in 5 years ago may very well not get in this year. But if I have too little data, I set it that it won't scatter plot because we have we don't want everybody to know who the kid is, the one kid that applied there. So I don't release that data to parents earlier because it's meaningless 8 years out. So, I try and keep that.
I don't know, maybe I'm trying to, just as a parent, now, like a college student, I think sometimes planning way ahead is beneficial. Even if it's sometimes stressful for the parent, if they do it right now as the sophomore year or even freshman year, just by looking at the data. I know it has nothing, comparison to the future, but at least junior is so stressful and so busy.
I won't be releasing the data if that's your plug. However,
I know.
anybody that wants to do it, you Google Bucknell University, class of 2019. College Data has a website. All the info comes up. It'll tell you the current freshman class at Bucknell, what the mean SAT was, what the mean ACT was, what the high, the low, and the GPA. It's just that you won't have HUN data.
Yeah, that's
Again,
what I'm looking at.
I just think, I know it's not
It's too
valuable,
busy by
so
now.
I'm
That's
not
what I'm
doing it.
saying.
Can you share with us what you're doing with the sophomores at this time in their career discussions and what's going on that way?
So, Kat, this is Kat's step. Although we do go out in the hall and try and trip them when they try and avoid us, but,
One question. The colleges that are reaching out to the child, my son is in the sophomore year, are they reaching out based on any data or is it just random?
So it's usually what they fill out on that PSAT. Just know college is big business now. The more applications I can get, the more I can deny, the more selective I become. The higher I move in the rankings. And it's really a shame because they have these stealth applications. You don't even have to pay a fee. And I'm like, really? There's no way this child is getting into this school. And it's so frustrating. I'm not going to say that, but it's a game.
So what is that they feel, like my son has felt that he's getting this? like-
They'll ask like demographic questions on the PSAT. What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. They bubble in stuff and they sell these lists.
And they're not actually looking at the PSAT scores or anything that child.
They might be looking at overall data, not on that child. But it's,
Overall data of the school?
no, like this year's whatever class, their mean scores, they don't have access to your child's individual data.
Well, that's what I was
No,
wondering.
it's more based on like things that they may have filled in or bubbled in.
So one more question on the same line. So with the new redesigned SAT, if the child has made an account of the Khan Academy and I think they go through the process of figuring out where they are and then what practices they need. Any of that information is being shared outside or is it strictly with Khan Academy?
Absolutely confidential. Okay, that's just a site to level the playing field for all those kids that didn't have access to test prep. And so, if you've ever met Sal Khan and had him, the man's amazing, just amazing. So, Kat.
Okay. So I think my goal with the sophomore class is really to get them excited about college. So when I go in and I meet them in the sophomore seminar, and I do 2 career interest assessments and take them through these assessments. One is based on John Holland's career theory, so that they'll go through a series of questions, and when they answer the questions, it's like, do you like this, don't you like this, or you're not sure. And so I encourage them to really choose, do I like it or don't I like it, to get a better reading. And it will give them, it'll kind of put them in categories. Are they realistic? Are they artistic? Are they social, enterprising? conventional. And then it'll match them to careers that have similar personalities. So and the theory is that if you put a person in a career that's similar to their personality, that they're going to find that satisfying. So it gives them a list of careers that they potentially could find satisfying. Do they have the skills to do those careers? No. But if they find out, you'd be a great vet, based on some of the things that you've inputted, then we say, hey, maybe we want to get you looking at some of our science classes. Or, hey, maybe you want to get more involved in Hun clubs or do some internships in the summer. And so it gives us some data about what's interesting and what they can find satisfying along the way. And when we get them involved in those things, they'll go, oh, I really like that, or I really didn't like it, and that's valuable. So in 10th grade, it's a lot about focusing on interests. What are their interests? And then starting to, encouraging them to take their studies seriously. And I think also part of it is if they're starting to take courses in areas where they're interested, they'll do well in them because that's part of their strengths. And one of the assessment is a strengths explorer, so it looks at their strengths. And I think one of the things that, a lot of times we'll look at something and go, oh, we have a deficiency here, we need to work to get that better. But one of the things with one of these career inventories is saying, let's focus on your strengths and really build on that and encourage those types of the qualities you already do have and build on them. So we're working on a lot of helping the kids get to know who they are, what are their interests, and let's build on your strengths. And so we're doing that through the seminar classes. And then the other thing that
I'm sorry, the 10th grade seminar, do you interject every once in a while, you'll use that
So
seminar?
I come in, so if your student had a seminar class this past semester, then I came into all the semester 1 classes. And then if they have semester 2, then I'll be in that. And so they'll have those assessments. And then if they look at the different assessments and they have any questions, I tell them, where my office is. They're welcome to come in and we can talk about maybe some areas where they can get involved to build on those strengths. The other thing that I talk about is about grades, that doing their best, and that it does count. And I show them a transcript and what a transcript looks like, and that your grades and your courses from your transcript will be a part of the picture, kind of going forward. So it's really a process. And you talked about taking testing and when to take testing. I do think, for the sake of the student, if we slowly expose them to different areas, they're getting the college process in a healthier way. It's not all, happening right before they apply. So we are trying to make it a really nice process for them. And I think the last thing I would say is getting them on college campuses, just to visit and see what type of campuses are out there, having them look at different programs, what interests them. If there's a summer program in business that they think they like business, that maybe they go to Notre Dame and they take a business class there and see, wow, I love that campus, and then that can be something a goal for them to start working towards.
Letting them figure out who they are and what they might like. I always tell them, I love my job. I had retired for a whole month and then came to Hun because it doesn't feel like work. It only feels like work at 7 o'clock in the morning when it's freezing. But, and I encourage them, find something that you'll really love and you won't be counting the days till retirement. So many of my friends, I hear them doing that. So within the do what you are, the kids will get career clusters. So based on their skills, they still could do something in business, but maybe it's marketing and not accounting. Or they could still, so it has them kind of explore it. everybody hears the word career, and for some reason, they're like, no. But it is important for them to have some kind of direction, even if it means they do an internship or they shadow a teacher, or to figure out, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. So those are the kinds of things. Having a job. Oh, what a unique idea. How many kids go away and they've never held a job? I make my kids work. Make them earn a little bit of money. It teaches time management, it teaches responsibility, and the colleges, they will ask for that on the application. I know it's hard because we all want to go on vacation in the summer, and arranging their schedules is tough, but I don't want you to think you have to pay $3,000 to take a course. I mean, if your family values that they get a job, they can get just as much out of that as they can taking some leadership class.
I have a question. My son took the seminar. Where is the assessment?
So it's in Naviance.
It's in Naviance.
It's in Naviance, yeah. So, you know, if you ask him to kind of go through the assessments, you know, pull them up, you can see.
They stay there, you get to see them, and we get to see them.
Is that the assessment where they were like labeled as like a beaver or a butterfly or something like that on their answer?
Is that a new one?
That's new.
No.
I'm a beaver.
No, like I said, one is based on John Holland's career theory, and one is a strengths explorer that will kind of do overarching themes but not label them.
So sometimes
the teacher,
seminar teachers.
Yeah, the seminar
Yeah.
teacher, yeah, it's something different. It's not
Yeah.
something
That's something different. Yeah, so the ones that we do are through Naviance, and the results are still on Naviance. So you can just have your son or daughter pull them up, and you can see.
And we're
It's
activating
pretty
the
in-depth.
parent accounts this year, right?
Yes.
We're getting all their
Once
emails.
all the seminars are completed, then the parent accounts will be activated.
So my son has a seminar, second semester. So he'll have access throughout the semester, he'll have access to Naviance?
From once he gets.
Forever.
From then on, he'll have it.
Once you start the
Right.
assessment, he'll have access. So but if I want to see it, then I have to ask him.
We'll activate you as a parent on
During the
Naviance.
semester or more?
Probably at the end of the year, once everyone's completed their assessments.
But will he have?
But he can have
He'll-
access and
if I
show
ask-
you.
So if I wanted, if
Yes.
I asked him to go into it, he'll never
Yes.
show it to me, you know, right? But if I see it, I know that you have access
Yes.
to it, then I can get it. That's right.
But eventually, the
But if you call me, I can just activate you. You're all set, you have to go through all that.
In junior year, we want you to each have your own account, because you'll see, I like to see, oh, who put this school on their list? It says added by parent, added by student, added by counselor. And it helps us kind of, oh, okay, so you wanted to go to school in California. I'm not seeing that on mom's list, you know?
So when you were talking about it earlier, about the kids having their accounts and being emailed to them, that's really just the kids who've had all of this.
That was PSATs.
But that's on Naviance?
Nope.
No, okay.
The scores will be imported into Naviance. There'll be a whole section where you can see all their testing. However, the College Board hasn't figured out how to get them into Naviance yet. Rumor has it was going to happen on Friday, and we told Kim, don't even try till Tuesday. Let other people complain on the listserv. So it goes in there just to help you see. We have one portal. It's where we put colleges we think about. We put scores. GPA is there. It gives them a comprehensive but confidential portal that we create for college.
You wouldn't have access to that unless you had seminar already.
There's nothing to do in it until they have seminar, because I don't give you, right now, there's no GPAs in there.
But how, because I'm one of the parents whose child didn't give them the access code. It wasn't until I read, you know, on the teacher bulletin, the parent bulletin, that the scores were released and that, you know, they were supposed to have an access code. So I talked to him.
Did he even access it?
He looked through his emails and he doesn't
sent his little body down, and Mrs. Esposito.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Question about the test, ACT and SAT. Is there a limit on how many times you can take it?
There's not, however, there's a limit on your child's sanity. Because when you think about it, if they're taking SAT and ACT, and they're taking AP tests, and they need subject tests, and we want them to do well in their finals, I just think there comes a breaking point.
So if you take like 2 times, for example, like for SAT, can you submit like verbal from one test and the math?
Depends on the college, so every year I generate a list that my colleagues all over the country contribute to, and it's never 100%, but it's usually pretty good. These are the schools that will super score SAT. These are the schools that will super score ACT. Penn State will only take the one best city. This one wants all your scores. Lehigh doesn't look at the writing. I mean, that's why it's not cookie cutter. But the sooner junior year, I really work to get schools in the list, because as they're there, I can show the kids, okay, now you have to actually go on here and write down the deadlines and the requirements so that they're a little more focused on that. I wish there was a simple, but only the UK and Europe have a simple system.
I completely feel like I need to go to college to work out to know what you're talking about. Now, my son will know a lot more than I do about this. I
Sometimes,
can guarantee it, that's why I came along.
thank
You
you for
can
coming.
this so my husband can have a look, because he's from New Zealand, people have no idea.
And we work,
on the internet, did you videotape this whole thing like you did the last one?
I don't know, ask the man back there.
Please.
He does an awesome job.
Okay.
And so then the
But that would be amazing.
handouts and that are always up, but hopefully, I kind of wing it, so luckily Tommy will edit some of it out before Headmaster Brome sees it. We really just try and amp it down. You hear this one's doing this, and then you feel as a parent, you're behind the 8 ball. I mean, just step back and think about what's best for your child. And
It just seems the junior year just seems ridiculously overwhelming, because if you're not taking an SAT or an ACT, then you're taking a subject test.
junior year,
Yeah.
you'll be taking an SAT and an ACT and a subject.
Well, like in the fall, you're going to be taking, in the winter, you're going to take an ACT and an SAT.
And then you're going to decide which one
you're going to take.
Mhm.
And then somewhere
Then you're
in
going to take
September or fall,
one
you're-
more at the end of the year.
But then somewhere throughout the year as well, you're going to be taking subject tests as well.
And take subject tests probably in June.
June.
Unless you're in AP classes, then you'll be taking them in May. And
hopefully
some
fall.
kids will put them off and take them senior year. The problem with that is we try and get them to do it while it's fresh in their brain,
Right.
you know?
So if you take the course, then you don't need to take this?
Oh, no, you do. It's just that if you're going to take AP US, I say also sign up for you're studying anyway.
Regarding math 1 and 2, you said that math 1 is after, it's better to take after algebra. What if the child is finished algebra 2 in like 9th grade?
Then they're taking math too.
But he didn't take it. And right now, it's.
You can take it at any time because math is building. He'll only do that.
Okay.
All right?
So, it's okay to take during the 10th grade year then?
Yeah, what math is he doing right now?
Pre-calculus.
I would have him wait one more year. Is he a sophomore?
Yeah.
He could take it at the end of this year. And then if he doesn't like his score, he can take it again next year.
Okay. So that score won't be counted,
Oh,
right?
yeah. No, because you can score choice your subject test. My experience has been the really smart math kids, they nail that subject math test, and then they don't do as well on the other math, the math section, just because they're so advanced and they haven't done that stuff in a while.
So he's supposed to take both math 1 and 2?
Nope.
Math 2?
Just math test.